The Final Four is no more. And as the 80s band Europe once famously belted, it's the final countdown. In the TST tournament, that is. Yes. Thank you. The musical renditioning of Jonathan, the Dr. Rhymer. Nani FC and La Bombonera have advanced all the way to the final. In less than 24 hours, a champion will be crowned. $1 million will be dispersed, and champagne will be consumed among possibly many more drinks, I think. Any way you slice or dice it, a team featuring MASL talent will be victorious once again. Today, we're going to highlight the Final Four between the Hoosier Army and La Bombonera and Newtown Pride FC with Nani FC. The highlights will be shown. The games will be recapped. And for once, this episode will be shorter than we possibly anticipated. No interviews today, unfortunately, as the timing didn't work out. I had a Newtown Pride player, not going to mention who, but the scheduling just wasn't in our favor. Fingers crossed that tomorrow will be different. 2 teams remaining, only so many players that we can hit upon. Introductions before we get started, always in order. Hello again, everybody. My name is Christian Filliman, but I go by the name Philly. And joining me, Amanda, the Panda Filliman, and of course, the Doctor, El Doctor, Jonathan Rhymer.
What's going on, MASL and TST watchers out there? It's so good to be back and to be getting to these stages of this tournament. It's been such an exciting ride. I can't believe we're almost done with all this, but hey, hope you've had just as much fun as we have. Be sure to subscribe to MASL Soccer on Facebook and Instagram and MASL Arena on Twitter.
What's up, folks? The third wheel with the even keel. It's your boy Doc here, reminding y'all to check out the TST finals tomorrow on ESPN Plus. It should be a fun one, guys. I'm excited about it. Let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick, we each, just to remind everybody, each of us picked a team that we thought would do some damage. Panda started things off. She had 2 teams. We gave her that. She had Tranquilo FC, which unfortunately didn't make it out of the group stages, and Conquefa. Both teams got knocked out. I chose what I considered low-hanging fruit. Newtown Pride FC. We'll highlight them later. And, of course, the Doctor chose La Bombonera. And between the 3 of us, in the words of Elton John, as far as the Doctor is concerned, he's still standing. Yeah. A lot of 80s singing going on in this podcast. If I were the lead singer of a band, we would be called the Tone Deafs. Look at you breaking out the Calafino. Sunday Fun Day.
Official kit sponsor of TST finalist, La Bombonera.
Yeah, I could see you've got your Adrian Miller Chihuahua Savage jersey, your Carlos Popper Hernandez Mexico jersey from that USA team. You and I are representing quite well. Believe that's a Utica City SC sweater, courtesy of our good buddy, Matt Huber. I got some representation in as well. I got my Monterey Flash beanie that I got courtesy of the Monterey Flash. I've got a rarity, something you don't see too many people have, a Chihuahua Savage jersey. Obviously, that represents La Bombonera, but our good friend and former member of the Empire Strikers representing Utica City, Frank Tayu. So representing and spreading that MASL love. Panda, you have a white branch of a tree.
I'm here bringing you guys today Jose Cuervo, ready to drink margarita because I don't have any skin in this game. So instead of playing Guess What's in the Cup, I just went ahead and told you. So here we are.
Well, Panda, drinking Jose Cuervo, it's a good thing you got some dude wipes around.
I do. My dude wipes are ready to go just in case. So I don't know.
I love it. Sunday Fun Day. It's about 10:35 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You're drinking Calafino. Panda, you're drinking Jose Cuervo. I'm drinking this Jack Daniels Tennessee Honey thing. I know Jack Daniels so well that I start to call him John because we're that friendly together. Anyways, the banter is over. Let's get into things. Doctor, I know you can't wait to throw this in my face at the end. I'm going to graciously step out as you recap La Bombonera taking on my alma mater, the Hoosier Army.
Yes, indeed. Our first semifinal matchup of the day was a classic clash of styles between the outdoor Hoosier Army and the very indoor-centric philosophy of La Bombonera. It was a classic, big, swooping, free, runs in from the edges style from the Hoosiers. And of course, La Bombonera, quick changes, fresh legs out there, swarming press, collapsing on every ball. And as a result, the game played out with them having the majority of the possession. First half saw the Chocolate Box boys have the majority of the opportunities, but thanks to one off the post and a few just wide, we would go into halftime knotted 0-0. Shots were 9-5 in favor of La Bombonera at the half. However, 2-1 in favor of Philly's Hoosiers as far as shots on goal. So it wasn't as though the Hoosiers weren't creating chances. Some of those big sweeping plays of theirs did create some runners in the box that were hard for an indoor team that was looking for very compact movement to respond to. But I really thought La Bombonera's defense did a fantastic job with their recovery runs and their counter press. It was beautiful tactical team defense that they employed throughout that first half. It was fun to watch despite being scoreless. But it took just 2 minutes after the half for Irvin Mojica to fire a deflected shot from the top of the box to make it 1-1 to the Bonbons. Absolutely loving it. I was going crazy at work. My coworkers had to be explained what was going on at this point in time. It was good stuff. Just before the halfway mark in the second half, La Bombonera would find their second. Eric Ponce slots a beautiful, beautiful back heel assisted ball home to double their lead for the boys from south of the border. So now we head into target time with the score 2-0 La Bombonera. 4 minutes into TST time, the Hoosiers would find a goal by the way of Tanner Thompson, who I believe his brother plays for San Jose Earthquakes. Am I not wrong, Philly?
You want me to tell you
Philly
that you're
agrees.
wrong or
Philly
you're
agrees.
not wrong?
For those of you listening to the podcast, yes, Philly nodded his head in agreement there. Bombonera had a number of quality looks in overtime, but that final touch just seemed to be eluding them. But in the 11th minute mark, while 5v5, Luis Magana, Mexican football legend, fires the ball past the keeper. Bombonera wins. And Hoosiers, I got one thing to say. Hoosiers, who is your papi? La Bombonera.
Oh,
Womp,
man.
womp, womp, womp. Yeah, forget the sound effect. I just gave you my own personal womp womp. Look, at the end of the day, La Bombonera was a dynamic team. If you look at the statistics, they fired off 19 shots. They absolutely swarmed the Hoosier Army. They got 19 shots off, 8 of them on target. The Hoosiers had a tough time finding their offensive prowess as they only had 9 shots with 4 of them on target. The only one goal that was scored, you already alluded to who the goal scorer was, Tanner Thompson. La Bombonera was just far too difficult for the Hoosier Army to contend with. And look, hats off to my alma mater side. I don't have the vested interest in the Hoosier Army like I would a team like La Bombonera because we've spent years calling the games of some of these players that feature on that La Bombonera team. But it was a very good showing by Indiana, so to speak. And La Bombonera, without a doubt, your pick to win. And this is just going to be it was going to be a tough team to contend with. You're talking about the indoor champions, the MASL indoor champions. And look, in a tournament that's been dominated by players from our league, it's no surprise that the team that several members of the defending champions would go on to the final. Great job by La Bombonera.
Panda, I would really love if Philly could relive the moment where the Hoosiers were eliminated from this tournament. Is that perhaps something you could help me?
I think I can make that happen.
Some more fire onto the kerosene on the fire. Thank you.
I think I can make that happen, guys. You ready?
Yeah.
Who has a goal to his credit.
Oh, good stuff.
Shot, and into the finals. La Bombonera goes. La Bombonera goes. That's the target. 3 goals.
There it was.
Play executed to perfection.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
You want to just hit it on repeat, see it again?
I got one more.
La Bamba. La Bamba. Nera.
Bom, 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 bonera. Soy campeones con uno más ganar. All right.
La Bamba.
Nera.
No? Is that not the same?
Yeah, that literally, like when he's saying it, it sounds like he's saying La Bamba.
La Bamba Nera. Necesito another $1 million.
I'll tell you what. If Bombonera wins, I'll learn how to play the song on guitar, and I'll do a couple bars for you with custom lyrics for
Oh, dude,
Bombonera,
that's
the
such an
champions.
easy
How does
riff.
that sound?
They win. I'll jam it out with you. I mean, one could go acoustic.
No.
I could rock the electric. It's not a hard
Yeah,
riff
but
to learn.
I don't know. You play lefty. Even being in the same room with someone playing lefty just gives me the willies, man. I don't know.
No, it should not, because it's the easy. Look, when I learned how to play guitar, it was the easiest thing because I literally mirrored the person that I was learning from. It's actually not a bad
in front
thing.
Of a mirror. Perfect.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
You can switch your camera to mirror you or to be opposite, so we could just flip it however you want so that it makes Jonathan happy.
Yeah, well, I mean, he should be
see.
happy because the team that he chose is gone to the finals. We should have put some kind of friendly wager on this. That's where we messed up, but whatever. We'll be doing TST again next year, but hopefully this time from Cary, North Carolina. This should never be a show ever done again by us recorded in Los Angeles. We should be in Cary, North Carolina. Now that we know that's going to continue to happen, no excuses.
I'll be honest though, if I was in Cary, North Carolina, I don't know what shape I would be in to be able to record these shows. Let's just be honest. I mean,
all right,
we would be having such a good time.
If we go next year, no hanging out with Mijatovic. That's maybe on the last day of the tournament when we have no further responsibilities. But until then, we just stay meatless. We go vegan, and then maybe on the last day, we can embrace it at that point.
Remnants from last night's calamity where you guys totally played me and I just dumped beer on me, assuming we would all do it together because the bit would have looked so much better. Unfortunately, I was the schmuck that had to clean things up. So thank you very much. I do have a trophy from last night, a bent Michelob Ultra can.
Wow. Why is it still in there, not in the trash?
I did submit a bracket via In the Box. So for those of you who saw my bracket on social media or on Facebook, I did have La Bombonera winning it all. That bracket was submitted long ago. And for anyone who's watched the show, I've been pulling for them since day one here. However, I had a chance to have a perfect finals. That would depend, however, on the result of the next game of Nani versus Newtown Pride. So take it away, Philly. What went down?
Yeah, I suppose I should probably get into this. All righty. Nani versus Newtown Pride FC, the main event. An interesting storyline that TST did tweet about was Drew Ruggles had the game-winning assist at the end of last year's tournament to help propel Newtown to the title and $1 million. Now, that same Drew Ruggles would be on the opposite side of his former team, competing to try to get them away from not repeating. So a lot of really cool storylines implemented within this. Let's go into it. Josh Lemos out injured in goal for Nani. That would be a huge scenario. As entertaining as the first half we saw, it really was an entertaining first half. Both sides tried to break down the other's game plan. Nani was just challenging the keeper in possession, forcing Newtown to move the ball around more. Newtown certainly had the better looks, but Nani wasn't without their offense. Frank Tayu, that guy right there, had a spare chance that went wide, but Newtown's Luis Morales hit the post and forced 3 big saves from Nani's backup keeper, Ferreira. We head into the half with the score deadlocked at 0-0, 0-0. Newtown had the majority of the possession in the second half, and it finally paid off as Gabriel Ganser collects a ball at the top of the box, back to goal, turns right and fires it home with a left-footed shot. 1-0 Newtown. Gabriel Ganser, where have you been our entire life? My man, you've got some game. Hopefully figure out a way to pave the path so we could see you in the Major Arena Soccer League. In the 37th minute, it's a penal. Chris Penso points to the spot as a collision between Newtown's goalkeeper, Hernandez, and Lucas Roque creates the chance for Nani to tie it. But alas, Nani would miss wide left off to the post and squander a chance to tie just before the end of regulation. Womp, 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 womp. We go to target score time with the mark set at 2. 4 minutes into overtime, the Texas Outlaws, Seba Mendez, is one-on-one with the keeper. He fires wide. We play on. 8th minute, Ricardinho from way downtown ties it at 1. A bombazo of a golazo. Que golazo, amigo. Next goal now plays for $1 million, the most expensive shot to possibly be had. Newtown
Hold up. I'm thinking this might be the goal of the tournament. I mean, I know everybody's going to talk about the Concacaf goal that happened earlier in the group stages, but with the money on the line, down one, semifinals, you're in target time, and he took that shot from way outside the box, perfectly pinged it top corner. That is the most beautiful shot taken in this whole tournament. Given the gravity of the situation, that was a bombazo.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, an absolute glorious goal. And you know what? Maybe we should just roll right into it. Let's see that clip.
Do you want to see it, guys?
Yeah, I know you got access to it, producer Panda.
What makes you think that?
You control everything, not only in this house, but among the three of us. You
have
the power.
You act like you can just reach into a box and just like pull a goal out and be like, whoop, there it is.
And I are just
Cardinho has some space. A shot, a goal! What a goal! We're all even. Red Cardinho has tied the semifinal.
Take a bow.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it doesn't get any sicker than that. Anyway, let's keep going. Newtown puts their foot on the ball and brings the clock down to 3v3. They pull the keeper, and in comes the target time talisman, Charlie Golasso himself, Charlie Gonzalez, or as the broadcasters say, Juan Carlos Gonzalez. After an eternity, Newtown finally fires a shot, and Chargo hits the post and deflects wide. This is where football becomes that cruel mistress. Drama on the bench as Adriano Dos Santos headbutts to Voy Morgan. 2 Saints equals 1 red card, sadly enough. Nani settles in front of the goal, the Nani, not the team, and his shot is saved wide. We now go to 2-2. Robert Palmer, Berto, defender of the year, is the defender, I should say. Strips Ricardino, works his way, pitch, and Ricardo covers. The wording seems kind of off here. This is what happens when you get Ron Burgundy to read off the teleprompter. Nani and Ricardino play keep away just long enough to create the space for Nani, the player, not the team, to fire home the game winner. Hernandez got a hand on it, but couldn't take the pace off of the ball as it rolls home. Nani FC comes from behind to win it in target time. The defending, reigning, undisputed champions are no more. They are done. Ba-boom, ba-boom, ba-boom. The champ was here. The champs are out. Nani is in the finals, and it couldn't be any more fitting than the namesake of the team scoring the goal. Panda, let's go to the videotape.
A little step over Ricardino. Ricardino back for Nani. The goal! The goal! Nani! And Nani FC is through!
Wow. This is so crazy. I love to see it.
Look at Frank Tayu, the king. Nani absolutely put Newtown pride to bed, and fitting. He's only worth about 30 million or so based on his earnings. What's another, million to add to his bottom line? But a tremendous goal. Nani FC goes forward by way of Nani himself, the team's namesake. A heck of a game, and all in all, the Final Four was awesome. The fans that had the opportunity to be in the stands or watch it on TV, amazing games, a great representation as to the quality of play and how much fun the TST can be.
All right. Yellow card to the doc. Yellow card to the doc for his mistake in the doc. I was doing some editing.
I'm sorry, what? What card?
And I'm issuing myself a yellow.
No, amigo. Tarjeta roja. Red card to you, making Philly look bad. You wrote it in the doc. I mean, I know what the deal is, Doc, but you messed up your doc. Red card to the doc.
Your fault. I was editing the doc in that particular location, but the sentence that got deleted by accident by me. Right
Making
before,
me sound like Porky Pig. Thank you, Doc.
Right before Nani FC's Nani scores the game winner, Berto had a steal on Ricardinho, and he had a chance going the other way, but he just didn't have the gas to beat his opponent, and that would have been a tap-in on an open goal, and Newtown would have gone through. I mean, you saw Chargo hit the post, and it deflects wide. Berto just gets beat on the run back, and unfortunately, seconds later, Nani FC put it home for the Newtown Pride fans. You know, for the Nani FC fans, and frankly, for most of the fans in attendance there in North Carolina, Nani FC is on through and Newtown Pride is out. But it was the closest of margins on multiple occasions where Newtown could have won it. It was a wild game. It was everything you could ask for, and it was precious moments either direction that ended up deciding it in the end.
Yeah, glorious way. Panda, oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that what that just means is the finals are set, guys. Like what we have been talking about for the last 5 days is finally here. Monday, tomorrow, or if you're listening to this on Monday, tonight, it's going to be 8:30 p.m. TST time. So if you're out on the West Coast like we are, that is 5:30 p.m. Pacific time for $1 million. And we're going to see FC Nani versus La Bombonera. And we got a couple narratives that are kind of cool. We mentioned Drew Ruggles earlier and facing off against Newtown. Well, now he has a chance because he's in the final again to be the first two-time TST winner since he won it last year. And La Bombonera can have a chance to be the first team from outside of the U.S. to win. So a lot of firsts happening. I mean, this is the second year of the tournament, so a lot of things that happen are going to be first, but it's still cool to be able to say that that was you. And so definitely need to tune in for this game because in my head, I think this is going to be, this could be a pretty high scoring game. I'm not sure, but if you looked at the group stages, Nani FC and La Bombonera, you kind of could forecast that they were going to land themselves here. In the group stages, they both went 3-0 in their groups. They both had, let's see, Nani FC had 14 goals for, and La Bombonera had 15. Those were like the second and third largest goals for of anybody else. The only one who had more was Reggae Rovers and actually Quick Goal, who had a very early exit from the tournament by way of North Carolina. So this should be a really fun matchup. I know in the knockout rounds, they've both been very high scoring as well. They've taken care of their opponents. They've definitely picked them off pretty easily. So I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I hope everybody does tune in for this because we have 16 players and 8 teams that are going to be on the field representing the MASL on the pitch for this final. You guys, why don't you start us off, Doc, with La Bombonera? Who can we see from the MASL that is going to be playing in this final matchup?
I'm going to get to that in just a sec, but real quick, I want to touch on some of the stuff that you just said there because, folks, 16 players split between 2 small-sided rosters in the finals of this tournament that had players from every level from all over the world are from the major arena soccer league. That means if you add up some of the next 2-3 leagues that are represented in the finals, even if you combine all those EPL and champion players, they do not account for as many MASL players as are in the finals right now. When it comes to this particular version of the beautiful game, it is very clear that indoor talent is leading the way here. And that is a beautiful, beautiful moment for this league. And hopefully it's one of those watershed moments that we look back on years from now and remember the TST bump. But I think it's just a pretty cool moment to kind of soak in for a second. But let's take a look at it because on the La Bombonera roster right now, representing your Chihuahua Savage, we currently have Carlos Popper Hernandez, Hugo La Roca Puentes, Ivan, Terry, Munoz, to the rest of us, Jaime Romero, Adrian Miller, Jose Lopez, Roberto Escalante, Ramon Ramirez, Eric Ponce, and Urban Mojica, all represented from the beautiful MASL on your La Bombonera roster. But there's plenty of MASL talent on Nani as well, Philly.
Yeah, 6 players to be precise. Adriano Dos Santos representing Baltimore. And one thing I could say for a fact, he's not going to want to contribute any of his winnings should they win to Gianni Tuminello, who, by the way, played
I also
guilty.
don't think he's going to be in the final. He got red carded in the semifinal. I believe he would be out.
But I mean, he's still entitled to money if the team wins. So that's ultimately what we're talking about. We got Chris Frederick, one of the backup keepers for the Kansas City Comets. We got Drew Ruggles. Drew Ruggles effectively going to be the richest MASL player in these last 2 seasons if this team wins. We got former member of the Ontario Fury / Empire Strikers and Utica Cities, Frank Tayu. Frank the King who wields his mighty scepter, not Frank the Tank. Lucas Roque, whose rights belong to Empire, but we'd like to see him play more for Empire. And of course, Richard Carvalho, as Panda would say. Ricardo Carvalho. Yes, I know. I had to bust Panda's chops. It'll be an exciting thing. Like you said, so many MASL players represented. Any way you slice or dice it, MASL talent's going to get paid. Let's go!
Yeah,
it's Sunday. You really think I was going to do that again, by the way? Come on.
I actually thought you were going to do it for a sec.
There's nothing in here, by the way.
It would not surprise me one bit if you did it, to be honest.
Sunday, I got work in the morning.
That's true. All right. So really, the stage is set. That's what you guys can expect. You certainly need to tune in for this because I know it's going to be an amazing matchup. I don't know. Do you guys have a pick?
I think this is a good question. I think we all should go around and say, who do we think will win and who do we want to win? Panda, since you asked the question, you start it up.
Well, because I am mildly annoyed that Nani FC is also the name of a player on the team, and it gets very confusing when we're recapping it when we say Nani this, Nani that, and I don't know if you're talking sometimes about just the team or the actual player, because that makes me very annoyed. I'm going all in on La Bombonera. I love chocolate.
Good. The love of chocolate alone is reason enough. The Chihuahua Savage are back-to-back MASL champions. The Monterey Flash went undefeated in the MASL regular season. If you're asking me to bet against a team made up of the combination of those two things, you're going to have to prove it to me first. And for 2 years now, nobody has proven that they can beat this team in a final. I know it's not the exact same team, but look at how they have played. Cohesive, frenetic. They have barely been scored on throughout the course of this tournament. It really has taken some golazos to find the back of the net against Bombonera. And in the meantime, they are running up the scoreline with such a wild pace of play. I just think that's going to be hard for Nani to keep up with. Nani has some very, very strong players, but they have a lot of big players. And you've seen it already in the semifinals. They were not playing at the same pace that they were playing at during the group stages. La Bombonera, on the other hand, it was hard to see a drop off in the pace of play. And I just think it's going to be too much. I think Nani has a deep bench, don't get me wrong, but they have a lot of very specialized talent on that team. I don't know if they have a full bench that's ready to track meet it out with a Bombonera team that has proven that they are ready to outrun everybody shift after shift and line after line. I love players on both sides of this. You know that we have a lot of affection for those MASL players on the Nani side. We have a deep history with a lot of these players on the Mexican side for the indoor players as well, too. So, I mean, look, either way, MASL gets a champ. Either way, it's going to be a celebration of this league tomorrow. But as a betting man, I'm betting on Bombonera.
That's a pretty smart bet. And one would say it's the low-hanging fruit. And for the most part, I would kind of agree with you. But I will say this. Where my heart goes, and I'm mainly a man who operates off of heart and emotion as opposed to logic. I will say this. English was not my first language, and there's no joke behind this. This is with the utmost reality and sincerity. First language I ever learned within my lifetime was Romanian. The word nani literally means bye-bye. And that is exactly what Nani is going to say to La Bombonera. They're going to say bye-bye. Nani is winning the TST tournament. That's what's going to happen. Drew Ruggles is going to celebrate 2 years in a row, and something that has eluded Frank Tayu throughout the history of his MASL career is a championship victory. He breaks the ice, hoisting a trophy, putting a few more Benjamins in his pocket, breaking the ice and setting the stage for him to go off on a rampage, picking up silverware every which way, shape, or form he goes. The only person on Nani FC that doesn't necessarily need money from the MASL front is Chris Frederick, because we know that guy is loaded. But the other players, Carvalho, Roque, Ruggles, Dos Santos, Tayu, they're going to walk away with fatter wallets. Nani FC, we're calling them Bye-Bye FC, because bye-bye is exactly what they are going to say to La Bombonera.
You know what would be great if Nani took that money and decided to maybe start an MASL franchise. I mean, I'm
Good
sure he's
Lord,
got
that's
the wallet
brilliant.
to make that happen.
Well, the
So
player's cut's 20 grand. I think he's going to need a little more to start an MASL franchise.
that's a good start. It's a good start. I'm sure he's got a couple bucks saved away from all those years with the Red Devils. I'm
Yeah,
sure he's
net
not
worth of
hurting.
30 million the last I checked.
That's not bad.
That's about 30 million more than what I got.
Agreed.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Maybe
Sorry,
30
Panda.
million in one in my case.
You married for love.
Clearly. One thing I will say, I love Nani's comment at the end of the game, how he said, the best team I have played for in my life. That's crazy. And I mean, that's a big testament. It has to be to what those guys, from the MASL are doing and how they are able to handle this tournament. So big claims. I mean, maybe he's going to fall in love with these players in this league by way of this, and something could happen from it. But, again, back to your point, Doc, Chihuahua and Monterey, they just have this level of cohesion and teamwork. They've played together for so long. They know what each other is thinking. They know how to adjust, and they do this so much. And we've seen it when you put together, like all-stars from another team. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're at a point now where they're all gelling much better, but, they're still always going to be several steps behind what Chihuahua and Monterey have been able to do in this team of La Bombonera. So I don't know. Either way, I think it's going to be a fantastic game, a great matchup, no doubt. It's definitely going to be fast-paced. I don't think we're going to see a boring game at all. I think it's going to be the perfect way to cap off this tournament and leave people feeling like they really did get to see quite a show.
Before we dive into the last bit here, I kind of want to talk about Newtown a little bit and how impressed I was with the coaching prowess of Onua Obasi. And this is a person that I think could really step into an MASL role and succeed really well. If you guys watched the finals, they had a couple times where they went in and interviewed him, and a couple times where they went into his huddles and he was mic'd up in his huddles and what he was saying to the team. And I really think this is a person that has a bright future on the coaching front. And even though Newtown failed to go back to back in the TST, winning it last year, exposing the outdoor world to these indoor tactics and all the things he did this year, I really think that he has the potential to bring a lot of those ideas to an MASL team. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him find his way, if not into a head coaching job, into someone's coaching tree pretty quickly. But I wanted to give a shout out to him because I don't think we've talked about Obasi so far on the show. And as head coach in Newtown Pride, he deserves a lot of credit for their run. And his assistant coach, Uzi Tayu, as well, too, deserves a lot of credit for what, they were able to put together in that run. And Uzi is still thankfully in his playing career, but maybe if Onua is done playing and injuries have ended his career, as it appears they have over the last couple seasons, he's struggled to stay on for a full year. I could see him transitioning into the coaching game very well, but maybe he's fit enough to go for one more year, and I hope he is.
You bring up a really good point.
Coaches. We see plenty of player coaches, so why not?
This takes me back to, the flights that we had, going with the Empire Strikers down to Mexico. When we went to Monterey, when we went to Chihuahua, I remember, us being on the flight sitting next together. And while a lot of the players were sleeping or kind of horsing around, we would look over at Obasi because he was the tallest guy there. I mean, his wingspan were very identifiable. And he was always working on some kind of like coaching diagram or putting together some formations. So even back during his playing days, he was working on tactics and ideas. So yes, it's not a far-fetched thought to say that, that he has a bright future within the coaching ranks. He's a very knowledgeable player. He had a fair amount of success within his own career as a player, but I think he's going to make a heck of a coach. No question about it. That's a really good point you brought up.
Yeah, I mean, Lux even said it in the interview yesterday, how Obasi, he's a big reason for the tactics that they use. He knew exactly how to expose some of these teams. He said he made the team fly out there 2 weeks beforehand so that they could start working together and start gelling together. And, she even talked about last year how they were criticized for how they were subbing. And that was the exact reason why they were able to capitalize so much and end up winning at the end of it. So, yeah, super smart guy, clearly a born leader, and has taken this team's, back to back, so far. And, I think at the end of the day, you get your squad down to 2v2. I think it's almost just like, at that point, it's almost like luck. It's hard to really, do anything there that's really going to outsmart the other. I think they just, tactics at that point, if you didn't close it out, it's just like a PK at the end of the game. Like, are you going to get lucky or not? And Nani got lucky, and so did Nani. Because, it's the same thing.
One thing that I sort of occurred to me, and it probably should have occurred to me much sooner on in the tournament, but remember watching Obasi as a player, all the times he would back up all the way to the boards, and then just sit on the boards and put his foot on the ball until someone came and approached him. And then I think about how he's coaching his goalkeepers to behave throughout the course of this tournament. It's the exact equivalent of them backing up to a board and putting their foot on the ball. And it took me until probably yesterday to figure this out. And I'm disappointed in myself for not catching that sooner. But it's pretty clear that those tactics have been something he's felt are effective for some time now in the indoor game. But Panda, before we wrap up the show, there's a reason I got a bunch of USA stuff going on here as well, too. Not just for my love of the United States, but Panda, we also got some USA action on the other side of the bracket, do we not?
Yeah, we do. So we had the third leg of the group stages occurred this morning and set the stage for the final. So we had two games. It was Streetball FC Canada, the Fighting Lauren Sesselmans, and North Carolina Courage faced off, and North Carolina Courage was able to take that win 2-0 to propel them into the final. And then Tampa Bay Sun FC took on the U.S. women, and the U.S. women, well, they were relentless in their attempt to make sure that they made it into that final game. They pulled out a 4-0 victory over the Group B stage winners, Tampa Bay Sun FC. Wow, they figured it out. Let's just say that after falling to Streetball Canada in that very first day matchup, they really figured out how to win these games. So going into the final and playing before the men's at 8:30 p.m. at 7 o'clock, we're going to see North Carolina Courage take on the U.S. women for the $1 million championship prize. Definitely some must-see TV. You do not want to miss that. And I know those U.S. women, after last year and everything they went through and just being happy to be included, they're going to do everything they can to just throw it all in there and hopefully come out with a win, because, I think some U.S. soccer needs something right now to cling to.
Yeah, especially after that butt kicking that the men had against Colombia and soon to be against Brazil. Not liking the way things are going, but absolutely. Look, the TST is right coming around its finale, and obviously this MASL TST show that we've had the privilege of being on the host is going to come to an end as well. And we sincerely hope you've enjoyed the content and the banter. And, we hope to continue to do things like this over the course of the regular season within the MASL, whether it be a show for MASL, or if anything, going back to our Striking Fury podcast for the Empire Strikers. We just want to say thank you so much for tuning into this, and make sure you subscribe to MASL on all those platforms. And before we close things out, any final words from either of you on the finale of this Final Four evening?
Panda.
No, I'm just ready for a good matchup. I love that there's MASL representation in both teams. So really at this point, I think we've won this tournament. We showed up, we showed out. And, I think MASL should be very, very proud about how this tournament went at the end of the day. So I'm just excited to tune in.
Doc?
I think the phrase of the tournament is those arena boys. Right. And those arena boys, on whatever team they represented this league with class. They gave exposure to this league on an unprecedented level. And I think there's a lot of brilliant soccer minds that are looking at what's going on indoors now under a very, very different light. And I think the men's tournament has done a great job of revealing that. I think the biggest thing about this year for the TST, of course, is the women's tournament. The fact that they immediately went to equal pay, and the fact that the U.S. women's national team is involved in a final that has equal pay in it is something that is very refreshing to see for so many of us here in the global landscape. The TST got it right this year. You have a grassroots local team in NC that's made it, up against a powerhouse team, a national team in USA. So, you've got a real dichotomy on the women's side in talent as well, too. I really hope next year we see their field increase in size, hopefully dramatically. And I think next year on the men's side, I think we're going to see a lot of change in some of these teams that think they can just roll in with straight outdoor tactics and have it work in a tournament like this. Rolling substitutions has really made this a tournament where indoor players can take over and take over. We have, and our representation in the finals speaks to that. This has been so much fun to do for you guys. This show went through a lot of iterations before we arrived at this final format. I'm just happy that we were able to bring something to you, and really, really hope that next year it's pitch side as opposed to pod side.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. There's, I mean, not much more I could add that's better or more eloquent than what y'all have said. If there's anything that I would like to see next year is MASL broadcasters calling these games. I think there's a certain, I don't want to say pretentiousness, but like you were saying, the outdoor players came in thinking that they could easily like walk through this and take care of business. No, they were embarrassed by some Arena League boys all across the board. So hopefully the Arena League boys can continue to do this. And hopefully some of these Arena League broadcasters can come in and show some of you TST broadcasters how to really do your job. More importantly, how to pronounce some of these players' names right. Bring in Billy the Doctor and Panda, Craig Elston, Nick Fassos, Eric Bergerud, Ray Bigsy, just to name a few, Art Kramer. The MASL broadcasters, at least some of them need to be featured on the TST. So bring us along, because our players are taking care of business where the outdoor guys couldn't, and the outdoor broadcasters are not taking care of business the same way the indoor broadcasters could take care of it for you. So let's not sleep on that. And I will close things off with a word in Romanian that y'all have learned right now. Nani. That means bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow night.